What is going on, guys? Today we've got a football manager tips video for FM23. Today we're going to be focusing on release clauses. I've made a similar tips video in the past. Release clauses are very, very important. Really, I'll probably make a video like this every year for any new FM players coming around because it's just very, very useful. Not just necessarily how to find the release clauses, but how would I personally really utilize them myself in terms of how I would discover what type of players I would look to discover. So let's get right into it. Subscribe to the channel for more FM videos. But as simple here, I haven't got a job, so you would see right now in the player search. We don't need to select if players are interested or not, so that would only be the difference if you were at a club looking for a player. But this is just to see the search parameters because I thought, everyone could have so many different saves. So, we better just show all players completely. And this is in 2028, so this could be relevant. I want it to be relevant for regens, youth players as well coming through. So you head to additional conditions, go over to the contract section, clauses, where it says release in the brackets there as well. So there's multiple ones. What we're going to start with is where the brackets, again, the brackets like release, is going to be smaller, but they could be very, very efficient. So first we'll go active non-promotion release clause. So you could go with a non-promotion release clause, but these ones are actually active for teams that have not got promoted. So this is one you can put into effect. Those other ones where it's not active, maybe you can get the players on your short list, but really you're just hoping, to be honest. So with the 10 million in place right now, there may not be a whole lot of names, but depending once more on that talk, depending the level you're playing at, right now the active relegations, these are within England, so you could still come across some decent players. You got a Louis Barry again. These ones especially going to be unique to your own saves, but more so just showing up, not the names exactly, but the type of players you could probably find in your own saves, because expecting them to be relegated in the same year as well, it's not going to be exactly the same. But at this point in the save, you'll see May. There's every chance there's some still other leagues going on. Like we said, it all depends what type of saves you're playing yourself. So the non-promotion, I don't tend to go with those a lot. That might be down to the type of saves I do. So active relegation release clause, here is where we could find a few more. Just a few, right? I knew there would be a lot more, and that's just at most 1 million. So you could look for bargains there, and hey, why not? Why not? Why don't we look for that right there and see? There might be some youngsters. Just make sure we saw. Look, there's a 17-year-old, a French. He's playing for Troyes. Is it the second division in France? Not bad at all. But still going to be judged off his ability. With a 16 technique. You got 16 bravery as well. Not too bad. Yeah, he's got some weaknesses, but don't forget, only 17 years of age. I like to take a look at, these are little tips. That is something I probably just always do, and maybe a lot of people do always. I love to check for the youth players if they're touted to be like a legend or something like that, which normally lets you know they've got high potential. So it's probably not going to be the case in this situation, because these guys, their values are fairly low, but you might find some real bargains. It's probably not where we're going to find our absolute best. This guy's pretty pacey there, and you just got to weigh up, and you got to go into the contract, details. This is the important part. Or you could just click to make an offer. We can't do that right now because we're not at a club. But if you were, you could sign this guy for 1 million. So it's all going to depend if you're going to see the value in that, all depending on your level and your finances. I don't mind his quickness, very good balance as well, but technically leaves a lot to be desired, and he's 25 years old. So yeah, under that kind of fee, you're not gonna get anyone too crazy. So we're gonna go 10 million, and this is where we're gonna hope. You're gonna hope for someone really, really quality. And look at this, sorting by the values, a 20-year-old Andoni, a Spaniard. He looks nice. Apart from his finishing, he's 20-year-old, so you could probably train him really, really heavy. And hopefully, and this is where you start to compare. Look at the active relegation release clause and compare that to his actual minimum fee release clause, which we'll head on to that as well. That's where you can get some stars, and yeah, maybe you can have a bit more search going on there. But active relegation release clause, 8 million. Once more, it's all going to be dependent on your own saves. For a couple of reasons here. You're not going to have this regen, and you don't know if his club would have got relegated. So this is all about finding your own options in your own saves. Just, yeah, they're not obviously not going to be the same, but someone like so you're not going to get someone with these same attributes. I'm not saying you're going to get him, but you might get someone with a similar release clause, and where he's a similar quality, just a different option in your own saves. If you're looking for someone a bit more experienced, you could find a similar type to Andre Franco. Who, look at those mentals. Again, individually, not to get too excited about him personally, but it's the comparison in seeing what his release clause is. The minimum fee release clause in comparison to the active relegation release clause. It's still a 7 million fee for a 30-year-old. It all depends on your goals, because people have their individual saves, journeymans, where you might be for a couple seasons only and intend to move on. In that case, someone like Andre Franco would not be too bad as well. Like at the start of the video, how I said I would go about the save myself, or go about signings myself, not just individually showing the release clauses. But yeah, where a player like that would be important, what type of save he would be important in. Kimbo Henry, easy enough. Kimbo Henry, physically absolute beast, but more relevant, active relegation release clause. And you might be thinking, yeah, would you go for someone like that? He's 20 years old. Once more, he's at Portsmouth. So he's in the Championship right now. So if you were a fellow Championship side, or even a Premier League team, I think at a Premier League team at least anyway, he'd be someone you'd look to sign for that pretty cheap fee, and you would loan him out so you get regular game time, maybe back to the Championship, because yeah, physically he's quick and he's got strength. Which nice mixture, especially with some pretty good dribbling as well. Maybe he could develop into a type, not exactly the same, but someone like a Adama Traore. When he's got that strength and still pretty quick and dribbling ability, I say about Adama Traore is so unique, and you barely get anyone like him. And another thing I like to do is look at the wanted, and not just if teams want him, but also, that's definitely part of it, but the level they're at, and a similar level as well. So that tells me, before getting a scout report, he's actually got a bit of potential in him as well, that, clubs around the same level are hunting after him. Once more, Félix Agu, just so we point out the amount of, there's some younger players here, and then first-team players. Experience, he's versatile. Again, it generally seems around the mark, half of their current release clause, and you see where their value is at. Not all of them are going to be bargains, so you got to see that. I don't think he's going to be a bargain. That's 5 million. So not all these are bargains, guys. Not all of them you jump at, but a couple of those, generally the younger guys. Again, we'll see another one like Nicholas Harris. It's all dependent. Look at his current value. Go to the contract. Active relegation release clause, 6 million. There's going to be more value in the youngsters because they're going to have progression. Those guys in the middle of their careers and maybe pushing 30, there's not the same value if it's when you look at their current value and the release clause is about, within that. You don't see the value, but yeah, there's definitely a lot more of that in a youngster like Nicholas Harris, 19, and those guys we grouped like Andoni. He stands up there, the highest value. So yeah, that's definitely one you look at. and it's very, very unique and or unreliable because you don't know what teams are going to get relegated, and you can't rely on that. You keep your eyes on it for sure. So, like I said, the other one to do, I say the non-promotion one may be a bit harder to get quality, and there's less players like I showed you. So if you go over to the relegation release clause, there's going to be more names here, and you might want to get some of these guys on your shortlist in case they get relegated, just so you can be on top of it. And you might look if it's a possibility or not, if they're a team that has a chance to get a relegation. But yeah, it's all about finding that in your own specific saves. And of course, once more, something else specific, there's so many individual ones. You can just go click and browse these ones yourselves, to be honest. But where it is, minimum fee release clause, this is where you're going to get a lot, and this is where you probably have to just rotate a little bit, because right now, this is how we are searching. This is where you got to get your search mode in. If you want me to make a video, because once more, it's something really straightforward to me, but how I go for signings. So if I was looking for a striker, and then you go for your attributes, and it'll kind of be linked to this video. Say if you're looking for an advanced forward that's going to fit your formation, we'll go top level. If you're looking for a top level striker, or if he is a bit younger as well, this is where so many different attributes are going to come in. Look at it. Memphis, just like that. Memphis, he could look, minimum fee release clause. It's a different situation. 34-year-old. As I said, if you're doing a save like a journeyman, if you're looking, or if you're a newly promoted team in a Premier League, you want someone cheap who's experienced, Memphis could be that. He could also be someone that wouldn't be so cheap. It's all about his contract, 110k. But once more, pure example, you might find someone else. Once more, it's the way you go about it. So we'll try and find a completely different player. We'll go for a centre back, opposite area of the pitch. Really, if you're looking for just a central defender, keep it straightforward. We'll drop that to 14 as well. And look, more show up there. So you might need to just be a bit more specific with your attributes, and you'll see, yeah, that's going to shorten down or increase the quality. Depends if you drop the attributes selected, and yeah, mix and match. But I might make a specific video on that to find players. But this is all about finding the best players in your for release clauses. But here, these are all older players right now. Once you can see the minimum fee release clause, we don't need to click individually. So this Koulibaly, he's 180k. Doesn't look that good, does he? So we're probably not going to spend too much time on him. And you see him with someone like Vestergaard, all retiring type. So we like to look for someone a bit younger. So when you would do that, you might drop this to a 13. I was going to go 12, but I don't want to drop the quality too much. There we go. We'll sort by that, and then go the youngest, who's 19. Look at that drop-off. So right there, David Escudero could be a perfect signing. His minimum fee release clause is 4.9 million, 19, young enough to keep progressing, and heading is a bit of a weakness. Otherwise, doesn't look too bad at all for just under 5 million there. Get him on your short list, get him scouted, and really see a mercenary personality as well. No real key information about him apart from the fact he's capped at under 20 level. So to see that Spain, he's in in the plans in the under 20s at least. So yeah, he's not too bad for that search, because if you look at it, no other youngster or anyone up until 29 comes under that rating, really. So that's something to keep in mind. And this is where next you increase the value. Let's go to 15 million, because then you might find someone of a bit more higher quality. Yeah, look at this. You're going to see a few more centre backs added. They're going to be more costly, but you're going to have more of a judgment. You're going to have a bigger pool. And that's where you probably compare to Escudero, who we just checked out. So you're not always going to find the same. Like, there's not going to be the stars in centre back. So we'll do the same. Maybe, centre midfielders. There might be, the thing with central midfielders as well, so many different roles. We'll keep it simple. We'll look for advanced playmaker, attack. And let's see if there's a youngster, if there's an absolute star, and we might go back and drop it for some, maybe we'll go 10 million, balance it in between. And look at this. This is a 20-year-old. Everyone else is younger, just to show you. Look at that. 20-year-old Gustavo. There is a lot of Spanish talents, I tell you what. And look at this. Look at the player traits. Great height. So physical type as well. Contract. 1.3 million. Once more, you're not going to find him in your own save, but look for different positions in this same fashion. And you could really find a star because, 20 years old. Again, he's another type that's going to increase. Any information about him? No, not quite, but definitely keep your eyes out for that. So look at that. I would probably, if I was, managing at a top enough club, I'd be really be looking. I'd be looking out for him. So I do want to find someone else because sometimes you can just find some stars and. It's very interesting. We get a lot of Spanish types. Look, Hannibal's there as well, funnily enough. Here we go. Another one. Passing looks incredible. Gets into opposition area. Spain does produce, and Barcelona produce a bit of those as well. So, he's got a bit more of a commanding fee, but also he could have a bit more talent as well at 18 years of age. But no, we were probably looking for someone to see if we can find a wonder kid or something like that. You got a Gustavo, like we showed you, like absolute quality. Just to show you the comparison, he was only 1.3 million, so there's less risk involved if you wanted to go for him. So, I think we just put in the things in place for you to search because, these players, especially the regens at least, are not going to be in your individual saves. But I think we put the right things in place in the video for you guys to discover them yourselves when you are looking for release clauses. There's other clauses. That's not it. You got to go clauses, release, and there's more you can take a look at. But they're going to be less specific, like we were saying. So if you want to look for a broader range, what we were finished on here, the minimum fee release clause is where you're going to find. The broadest range of player. So hopefully this video was helpful for you guys. If you liked it, leave a thumbs up. And as I said, the way I was searching and going about with the attributes, if you found that intriguing, if you're maybe a newer player or you don't necessarily do that so much and just necessarily, I would probably make the video something along the lines of it being how to find the perfect signing and that you're really looking for. So, or find the best player. The best player. Say if you're needing a centre back, how to find the best option for you to come down to the attributes and the role you're actually using as well. So let me know. I'll be having a lot more tip videos coming out and maybe some experiments. I'm just looking to broaden my horizons with the FM content to see what you guys, and not just you guys that are subscribed, but generally any of you out there searching for the Football Manager videos. But thanks for your time today watching it. Subscribe for more FM, and I'll catch you guys in the very next video.